What's going on, my man?
Monday Night Live, Beer Garden in Boca Raton, and we are back to game week after a bye, and I brought a friend, Damon Arnett, my FAU basketball analyst, hanging out the man knows ball on the field as well. But we're going to do an awful lot, as always, here from Beer Garden in Boca Raton, and we appreciate them hosting us. It is the Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com, title partner of the Florida Atlantic Voice. And we've got Memphis coming up, a Memphis team, by the way, that beat Arkansas on Saturday. So they already have an SEC win in their pocket.
Uh-oh.
This is the... Hey, but you got to have faith, man. You got to have faith, man.
I have all the faith.
You're not coming in here being all Debbie Downer.
No,
okay?
no, I have all the faith, man. I'll face paint if you want.
All right.
I'm all about it.
All right. I'm going to take you up on that. No. It's going to be a challenge. We knew it was going to be a challenging matchup.
Without a doubt.
These are one of the perennial favorites in the American Conference. You're going to have to get used to that, by the way. It's not the AAC anymore. It's the American Conference.
Well, what else? Everything's changing.
Everything's changing. So not Monday night, though. We're here every single Monday night. Beer Garden in Boca Raton starting at 6 o'clock. By the way, this is the Ken LaVicka guarantee. First beer on me. First beer on Ken LaVicka. And we appreciate everyone coming out tonight. First beer on me. That includes your drink. It's not a beer, but it's still on me. So, again, Memphis, 7 o'clock. There was a bit of question, a bit of mystery about whether or not there was going to be a game at 4:30 or at 7 o'clock. But this is going to be ESPN2, national television, 7 o'clock, FAU, and Memphis from Flagler Credit Union Stadium. And I want to tell everybody real quick, Beer Garden in Boca Raton, they're so good having us here and letting us come here every single Monday night. If you're ready to take your vacation game up to the next level, well, imagine yourself sailing the open seas, waking up in a new destination every morning, experiencing world-class dining, entertainment, and relaxation, all with Norwegian Cruise Line because, well, Norwegian Cruise Line teaming up with Beer Garden in Boca Raton. You're going to enjoy exclusive group rates, onboard credits, flexible dining options, Broadway-style shows, and a whole lot more. And the best part, you don't have to figure it all out on your own. FAU has a dedicated personal cruise consultant just for you. It's Jennifer Brinkman. Call her directly, 954-514-4326, 954-514-4326, or email Jay Brinkman with 2 N's, Jay Brinkman, BRINKMANN at ncl.com. So football 1 and 2, we know that coming off of a bye week, and we're going to get to some of the particulars. I'm going to tell you, Damon, and everybody watching right now, YouTube and on Twitter, going to tell you what you need to know. Okay. I'm going to get you caught up so you can impress people before you go to the game on Saturday.
Okay.
I know that's big with you.
That's very big.
You need to be in the know, and people need to know you're in the know.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's funny, not to cut you off, but I get caught out sometimes, especially on a Saturday. I'm the regular old Joe, sports bar, just watching games.
Man about town.
And some people are recognized or whatnot, and they'll ask me about football. What do you think is going to happen? And this, that, and the other. And I'm like, hey, I'm just watching the game along with you, so let's watch and see. And I tell myself, I'm like, okay, they're acting as if they want me to say something like, I know what the next play is going to be. Right. Because I hear you all saying basketball, but now tell me how you think this guy looks. How's the offensive tackle? And this day, I'm like, hey, he's doing the best he can.
Well, just because your family has NFL acumen doesn't mean that you're going to be able to prognosticate what's coming play by play.
And then there's that.
Yeah.
And then there's that.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm trying to watch the game just like everyone else.
You're just football by association in that spot. Exactly. I mean, ball, but the ball you were superior at was on the court.
Without a doubt.
So again, we're going to talk about things you need to know for this Memphis game. This is completely random, but this matchup against Memphis is the third meeting all time between these two teams. The previous two contests against Memphis are bowl games. The 2007 New Orleans Bowl and then the 2020 Montgomery full are the two other games against Memphis. This is the first time they're facing each other as members of the same conference, and it's the first time they're ever facing each other in the regular season as well. So that's completely random, and this does not happen much in college football.
It definitely doesn't, and I'm just wondering as I'm watching these games, the football games, I'm just waiting for that, although let's say what it is, this David and Goliath type of matchups from time to time. And I just can't wait to see us embrace that and go slay Goliath.
Yeah. And that's sort of what this is. If you pay attention to this sort of thing, and I do not involve myself in this, but if you look at the betting line for this game, it opened at 13.5 in favor of Memphis. So that's significant. That is lopsided for sure. But Memphis coming off of a win over Arkansas, Florida Atlantic coming off of a loss to FIU in the Shula Bowl. You expect it. You understand it. But first things first, and feel free to jump in the chat. Again, we're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitter, as we always are. Monday Night Live from Beer Garden in Boca Raton. Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group, ROBES, RobesLawGroup.com. Someone, by the way, who was extremely valuable in that 2007 New Orleans Bowl at the Superdome, a win over Memphis. Rusty Smith helping FAU, leading FAU to the moniker as the youngest program to ever win a bowl game in that New Orleans Bowl. Chris Bartell says, let's go. He was a captain on the defensive side. He's over in Tampa. He is watching here tonight on Twitter and on YouTube. But before we get to this Memphis team and some of the tidbits on this Memphis team, because it was a bye week, I am curious, and feel free to hit up the chat like Chris did. What did everybody do during their bye week? So I was left with a void in my life, not having an FAU game.
You felt like something was missing?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I did have an Inter-Miami match that I called on Saturday because during the course of the summer and even into the season, Inter-Miami's taken over my life.
So you're doing both footballs?
I'm doing both footballs. You're exactly
right. You go.
That's really well said. So I had Inter-Miami on Saturday, but still, I woke up Sunday, and I usually am doing a podcast the day after Florida Atlantic Voice, and Robbie Lestella, New Era Preps, who's in attendance here tonight from Beer Garden in Boca Raton, jumps on there and brings the numbers, brings the intelligence. I'm just rambling, you know me. Like, I just meander in and out.
That's what we do.
But I was, what do I do here? And the Dolphins weren't playing, which was better for my mental health. Because Thursday was an abject, letdown. And I'm starting to, I've defended Tua for a long time. Not that guy. You know what's funny?
You shifting gears here a little bit when you mentioned the Dolphins. I'm not a Dolphin fan. You know that.
Right. You're a Cowboys fan. Which
we
is
all are
just
Cowboy fans. Everyone here is a Cowboy fan, but I digress. Unless you want to talk about the Cowboys.
Nope.
Okay, then.
Nope.
But it's funny, not being a Dolphin fan, you get a lot of these memes. That are sent.
Yeah.
And one of the funniest memes I have, and I don't pull for or against the Dolphins. They just exist to me.
Right.
But one of the funniest memes someone sent me from a Dolphin fan, mind you, was on the back of Tua's jersey. He changed his name from
Tagovailoa
to Turnover Vailoa.
Oh,
and
boy.
I thought that was funny.
Low hanging fruit.
Well, you went there. You mentioned the Dolphins.
I know.
But to your point, though, I get that way when we go about 4 or 5 days without a basketball game.
Yeah, sure.
You know, sure. I wake up like, okay, when are we going to play next? So I definitely understand that feeling you got.
Oh, also, too, in addition to taking a deep dive into this game against Memphis Saturday, 7 o'clock, and I'll have the call for you. I also am hosting the pregame show as well. That's a rare occurrence for me with football. Mike Mareshko will have the weekend off. I'm going to do 6:30, probably to 11:30, straight through. Your boy, Ken LaVicka, taking on multiple roles here coming up on Saturday.
Well, listen, that's what you do.
I know. Football, I'm in a little bit of diva mode. I'm able to sit back, and then I'm requested to come. If basketball, you know that I'm grinding away with that. But Sunday, so back to what did you do during your bye week? So I worked Saturday night, called Inter-Miami.
Okay.
On Sunday, and I guess how many days are in waking hours? Like 14. I wake up around 6:37 a.m. if I'm going to work out, and I'm old and washed, so I'm probably in bed around, I don't know, 9:45, 10 o'clock. There's no way I'm staying up for the entire Sunday night game, and I did not miss a single thing in last night's Sunday night game. But I'm telling you, those 14 waking hours, I had pants on for about 90 minutes. I was pantsless most of the day.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
You look like a no pants guy.
Yeah, I was built for comfort yesterday.
Yes.
So that's what I did without the bye week. I watched football and I was pantsless a vast majority of the day. So what did you do with your bye week, Damon?
Well, my bye week,
it required pants?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
It required pants and shoes, which I'm sure you didn't have either.
Well, you would get service at any fast food restaurant.
Well, mine was kind of slow as well. I mean, to be honest, I went and played some ball a little bit here with some of the guys around town and watched them Cowboys. Everything centers around
beat
them.
up by the Bears, right?
Yes, they did. They lost. It's just one game, though.
Yeah,
it's just one L.
Right. It's just one L. Just one L and
one
several.
loss. Everybody overreacts when the Cowboys lose. That lets you know how many people are really rooting for them. But watch that and just did the regular old college football Saturday thing.
So let us know what you did during the bye week. Jump in the chat on YouTube, on Twitter. We are live as we always are. Florida Atlantic Voice and the viewership ticking up as always here. 6 o'clock Monday Night Live every single Monday night during the course of the FAU football season, presented by Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. And again, the Ken LaVicka guarantee. If you come out, hang with us for this live edition of the Florida Atlantic Voice Pod, the first beer is on me, Ken LaVicka. And that also is going to be leverage for me to renegotiate a contract with FAU as well.
Everyone remember on Ken, not Damon.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Damon is not involved in this whole.
No, not at all. Well, not on that side.
Yeah, that's why I invited you here tonight, actually. Hey, Damon, could you help cover the check a little bit? We're also going to, actually, before we get into this Memphis game,
okay,
I want to give a little historical perspective to FAU being 1-2 at this juncture of the season because, and I hate to say it, it's been common. This is not the first go-around for a 1-2 start to the season through 3 games for Florida Atlantic, okay?
Well, let me ask you this. How many times have we been 0-3 in comparison to 1-2?
It's only been a couple of times. The last time FAU started a season 0-3 was, it would have been 2000. I can double check that, but I believe it might have been 2011. And the reason why the 1-11 year. For
the reason why I ask is because sometimes to kind of slowly change the course, you got to start doing these subtle things that are different.
Yeah.
And then it is no surprise why you finished with, a 6-5, a 7-4 kind of record.
Sure.
Because it started early on in the season. You can see the pattern change.
Right.
And sometimes, as they always say, when teams are trying to change the culture or whatnot, they first have to dig themselves out the grave.
Yeah. Oh, okay. For sure.
And this is why I ask, is that, 1-2 versus 0-3, is the needle going in the right direction from a historical standpoint so where these kids can keep building? But as soon as I say that, none of these kids on this team has experienced that. So you kind of, or the coaches. So you kind of wonder how much that culture is really seeping into the actual current team.
Christian Procius says, during the bye week, I longed for game week Monday so I could hear the Florida Atlantic Voice. And I tell you what, the best damn sports photographer in all of South Florida. That means a lot coming from him. Thank you, Christian. Appreciate you. So I believe, just looking back, I believe 2011 is the last time FAU would have gone 0-3. Florida Atlantic started that year. Let's see. Well, they only won 1 game, so it was 0-1, 2, 3. They won the game in week 10, week 11.
UAB.
So yeah. It was UAB. That was Alfred Morris absolutely going off in that game at then FAU Stadium. But don't make that mistake now. Flagler Credit Union Stadium. If you make that mistake, then Brian White comes to your home.
I heard.
So 1-11 FAU was that year. But here's also, before we dive into the historical perspective of 1-2, a lot of the reason FAU has started seasons 1-2, especially in the Howard Schnellenberger era, was the advanced training games, as he called them. I mean, Howard Schnellenberger was a massive masochist. Also, FAU needed the checks from these money games against these power schools. And also, the FAU football program desperately needed money. First, for the survival of the program, and then second, try and get the confidence to build an on-campus stadium. So, I mean, when you're in the 4th year of the program and you are playing Oklahoma State, you're going to Clemson, you're going to Minnesota, You're going to Michigan State. You're playing Auburn. All of these different games, like FAU in 2011, because the stadium wasn't going to be ready until October. Here are their first 5 games of this season: at Florida, at Michigan State, at Auburn, at Louisiana Lafayette, and then at North Texas.
So you say you want to be good, huh?
Yeah. So again, like, this is skewed a little bit simply because FAU's always been in a position where, and it's tapered off in later years, but you're always having to play at least one money game like you did this year going to Maryland.
And this was what year, 11?
2011.
So that was like the 3rd or 4th year of existence, correct?
No. That was year 10, but it was far and away the worst year in FAU football history. Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is that, as you say, Howard called these what kind of games? These
advanced training. Advanced training.
That sounds like a Howard comment, and I don't know how many.
Oh, no doubt.
I don't know how many current people in football that exist now within within FAU walls actually knew Howard or got to be around him as the program was
he tried to know everybody. I know. The ultimate college football politician.
Oh, ultimate.
Before there was Tommy Tuberville, there was Howard Schnellenberger. Right.
And so that sounds like being someone that has kind of been around him in the process of approaching that inaugural team.
Yeah.
That sounds like a Howard comment to sell. Oh, these are advanced.
And he firmly believed, though, and we know Chris Bartels is watching, he firmly believed that those helped prepare his teams for conference play. And honestly, throughout the vast majority of his tenure as the head coach and the father of FAU, he was right.
Yeah, no, he was you had to understand him to know what he was saying and to see his vision.
And he wanted FAU to have all eyes on it. And the best way to do that was to go to Nebraska.
Go play them.
My first ever game I called for FAU football was 2009, and they opened the year at Nebraska. And, that was Bo Pelini's Nebraska, so they absolutely ran all over FAU.
Well, let's just call it what it is, Ken. In football, you don't make a name for yourself unless you're beating one of those teams.
Right. And the chances of that happening were difficult.
Exactly. And it's still difficult, even for the team
coming
up now.
For sure. Now, the American Conference has played well against power teams. We'll get to that in a moment. But here's FAU at 1-2, okay? You realize that Florida Atlantic, 3 of its 4 seasons, they've gone to bowl games, okay? And I'm not counting 2020 because that was a sham of a season.
Right.
We didn't start the year until 2020.
Gotcha. How many games were played that year?
FAU played 6-7 games that year.
I knew it was abbreviated.
It was a disaster. It was supposed to start in the middle of September. FAU didn't play a game until October because every team they were playing got COVID, and then FAU got COVID, and so you waited and waited and waited. By the way, that season, I always travel with the team. The team stays at decent hotels, good hotels. We traveled separately from the team, the FAU broadcast team, because they didn't want us to have to come and test with the football team, so we just traveled separate. We were on our own. It was survival mode, survival of the fittest.
It's kind of nice,
but we stayed at hotels where the doors opened to the outdoors. Those were those type of hotels. I'm not going to name names, but there was a certain hotel chain that has a sun in their logo. It rhymes with Bays Min. We were staying at those an awful lot. Yeah.
And they turned the nights.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when you lock your door in those hotels.
Okay.
But all right. So the 4 seasons that FAU has gone to bowl games outside of the 2020 Montgomery Bowl. 2007, FAU started 2-1. They beat MTSU, lost at Oklahoma State, but then beat Minnesota, the only win over a power team in the history of FAU football, down at then Dolphin Stadium. 2008, FAU started 1-2. Lost at Texas, beat UAB, lost at Michigan State. In fact, FAU that year started 1-5 and then damn near ran the table, lost only 1 game. The remaining contests of the season, including the greatest Shula Bowl ever played, where FAU came back from down 14 with 3 minutes left, forced overtime, and beat FIU in that game.
Let me ask you something in pertaining to scheduling.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather get the quote-unquote big boys out of the way early in the schedule?
And you have to.
Or why not go into then later on in the season after you kind of get your rhythm going, get your mojo, find out who's who on your squad?
The only time I can remember that happening, and you have your conference slate,
Okay.
so you can't just pick and choose.
I got you.
You can pick and choose your first 3 games. After that, the conference.
Well, you know how
steps in.
Alabama slides someone in
There's
late in the
always
year.
a late year SEC. So the last 2 times actually that FAU has done that, they went to Florida, nearly beat them the week after Florida won the East Division in the SEC. That was back in 2015. That was Charlie Partridge's second year. And then FAU in 2013 under Carl Pelini went to Auburn.
Okay, I remember that.
With 4 weeks left to go in the season, FAU went and played an Auburn team that, by the way, played in the BCS National Championship game against Florida State. But it also was the final game of Carl Pelini's career, because then he and members of the coaching staff in the bye week went to the Keys, and they allegedly did hard drugs and were fired before the next game was played.
Well, so there you go. You never know when you get the big boys late on in the season.
Right. You got to de-stress.
Exactly.
You got to de-stress a little bit. Yeah, so
exactly.
that cost him his job, that de-stress there in the Keys. So 2008, 1-2, FAU went to a bowl game. 2017, Lane Kiffin, first year of his wildly successful 3-year tenure. Surely FAU got off to a great start that year.
1-2.
Nope. 1-2. In fact, FAU was 0-2. The home loss, the Lane Kiffin debut, blasted by Navy in a game that didn't end until 1:55 in the freaking morning because of 3.5-hour weather delays, and Lane Kiffin wasn't going to just call the game. Navy assistant coaches ripped him on Twitter after the game. Really unbecoming of our armed forces.
What are they, the shipmen?
Midshipmen. FAU's going to go to Navy later this season as well. And then went to Wisconsin. That was the game where we were stranded because of Hurricane Irma in 2017, but we were stranded in Madison, Wisconsin until Wednesday. We played Saturday at Camp Randall. Right. Wisconsin let the team practice because they had Bethune-Cookman the very next weekend, but we couldn't fly back because of the residual weather and then the damage that was done. So what we did, myself and Brian Rowitz, who was the executive producer at the time, and my former analyst for FAU football, Chris Bartels. Boy, did we milk the hell out of that. I mean, we would walk around Madison. Not a bad place to be stuck, by the way. And we would wear our FAU gear in any college bar we went into to watch football on Sunday or watch Monday Night Football. It was, you guys are stranded. Here's some beer tokens. Here's some beer tickets. Oh, man, we feel so bad for you.
So you walked in with the long face?
We were awash in sympathy. It was unbelievable. What a great 3 days. And my wife had a young daughter at home and was pregnant at the time. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there just drinking 3 beers for 72 straight hours. Right.
And you could have took the flight the day before, too.
Could have found a commercial flight to get back, right? But I was just waiting for the charter. Yeah.
Now, I must tell you, I've been to Camp Randall, especially for football games, and that is you talk about a college party town.
I almost went there. I would have lasted a semester.
Oh, my goodness.
I would have lasted one singular semester.
That is, if you're into college game day and just acting like you don't have tests or class or study hall or that is the place to go.
By the way, little known fact about me, speaking of my college days, I almost went to Wisconsin, didn't. I almost after that then went to USC, and then I went to Valpo, which is a Lutheran school in Indiana. Little background.
Yeah,
that was quite the 180.
Yeah, exactly.
So 2007 FAU started 1-2.
Valpo. Why did you choose Valpo?
They were giving me a lot of money for being Lutheran.
Oh, well, say less. Say less.
And then FAU obviously went on, won the Conference USA Championship and throttled Akron in the Boca Raton Bowl. And then 2019, FAU started 1-2 as well. They went to Ohio State and got beat up by Justin Fields. Then home against UCF lost that game, but then everything turned with a win at Ball State. FAU went into the MAC, beat Ball State, and from there, FAU lost only one conference contest, one game the rest of the year. That was home against Marshall, which just the dodgiest, most incompetent officiating imaginable. But then FAU went on and won another Conference USA championship, beat up on SMU in the Boca Raton Bowl after absolutely destroying UAB in the CUSA title game. So all I'm saying here is for everybody who's ready to throw in the towel.
Right.
Everybody who's ready to wave the white flag because FAU lost the Shula Bowl, and I know it sucks, and we've covered how much it sucks, and it's a gut punch, and it's a confidence hit. But I guess what I'm here to say is get over it.
I'm with you.
Just flat out get over it.
But you know what, Ken? Everything that you're just saying is kind of where I think the next step for Florida Atlantic athletics as a whole needs to go, because all that success from a football standpoint that you just read off, the casual fan wouldn't have no idea.
No, for sure. But that's what I'm saying too, is there's a ton of historical context for FAU going 1-2 and then having a great season after the fact. I will acknowledge, because I know somebody's going to jump in the chat, because they always do, or they're going to text me or they're going to email me, well, Ken, none of those seasons FAU lost to FIU. There's nothing we can do to go back now. Okay? Like that. So FAU has plenty of time started 1-2, and they've gone to a bowl game. And what's the value of 1-2? There's not. But also the value of 2-1 is vastly overrated. FAU in 2018, Lane Kiffin started 2-1. Air Force, the key win in that stretch. How did FAU finish? 5-7. Didn't go to a bowl game. Only time in Lane Kiffin's career he's never gone to a bowl game.
And you know, with casual fans, they always want to. They pay more attention to the here and the now.
Well, and
they live in
should.
Game you just played.
Right. And that's why the bye week it came at a good time for the team, not at a great time for the collective psyche of the FAU football fan. I acknowledge that. I understand that. It's a long wait, and now you've got to go up against a team that beat Arkansas on Saturday. But FAU also started 2-1 in 2021. Georgia Southern blew them out in Boca Raton. FAU finished 5-7. Florida Atlantic 2022 started 2-1. They killed Charlotte in week 0 of that season, finished 5-7. So, again, the first 3 games, do they mean something? Yes, in theory. Have they meant the world to FAU in program history? Unequivocally not.
No, and that's why you have to look at and judge the entire body of work. And, you know, as a casual fan, you're always quick to judge and jump on and jump off that proverbial bandwagon, so to speak. So, but I'm just glad to know all that history, that positive history, and we got to do a better job of promoting that. So when fans can kind of they may not know all the detail that you just read, but they'll have a feeling that, hey, we still can make a bowl game. And that, which is very much so.
I mean, what you said is spot on. You can still make a bowl game. And I've said it multiple times. And if anybody who's listened to the podcast for any appreciable amount of time, they've heard it come out of my mouth. This year's goal is 6 wins. This year's goal is bowl game eligibility. I don't know. Would it be great if FAU made a run at the American Conference title? For sure. But if first things first, you got to take some baby steps. You got to get yourself bowl eligible after a 3-win season.
And now with the 12 playoff teams, those are bowl spots. So I'm not going to say it's easier to make a bowl game, but if they were back to the 4th playoff team format,
well, there's plenty of bowls for plenty of teams now.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like the day does not exist any longer where you win 6 games and you don't get into a bowl game, because last year there were 2 teams that got in with 5 wins, but they graduated more players than other 5-win teams, and they were given invites to bowl games. So it's 9 games to win 5. Like that's plain and simple. The rest of this season, the Shula Bowl, again, it happened, but it is now. Here's the bottom line. It's 9 games to win 5. Okay. And you can go and you can prognosticate it and play that's a win, that's a loss, or total, as we put it. You can go do that, but it's 9 games to win 5.
Have you went through the schedule and as a fan just said, okay, we should win that one? We should win one.
I have, and I'm not going to publicly talk about it as the play-by-play voice of Florida.
I tried, guys. I tried.
I'm not. I am. I tried. I am well-trained, well-versed. I'm not going that route, okay?
I tried.
And for anybody who needs a little more comforting, another Ken LaVicka pat on the back, maybe even a hug and a cuddling into my football bosom.
Goodness. Okay, here we go. How much more?
Maryland. You say to yourself, oh, that's a bottom-of-the-barrel Big Ten team that FAU got blown out by. Guess what Maryland just did? They went to Madison Saturday, and they belt-to-backsided the Badgers.
Right.
I mean, absolutely. It was a 27-10 final, but that didn't even begin to describe how badly Maryland smacked Wisconsin around. So this might be a year where Maryland, with a five-star ridiculous freshman quarterback, they might have finally made that leap. So all I'm saying is that there's not a lot of shame in losing like FAU did to Maryland based on what they've done moving forward. They're now 4-0 on the season.
Well, but you're not going to go in that locker room and tell the FAU players that.
No, but I am going to tell FAU fans that.
Okay.
You know what
because
I mean?
I don't know. We're not doing the more victories yet, are we? Are we?
No.
Okay,
There's no, and
that's good to hear. We're not in the more victories.
Zach Kitley, he's not into moral victories either.
He's not be.
So Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group. We thank them for making all of this possible. Why are we a beer garden? Why do we have this awesome setup? Why are we the only entity that goes live outside of the official FAU realm? It's because of Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com, robeslawgroup.com, based out of Delray. It is Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. For all of your personal injury matters, it's Robes Law Group. All right, you want to dig in here to this Memphis game a little bit?
Let's dig into it.
All right. I don't want to overwhelm you, so we're gonna go. We're gonna kind of take this in segments, okay?
Okay.
I don't know. Just want to list this off and overload everybody with numbers because that's boring. Nobody wants.
Okay.
That.
Let's if you allow me, let's do it this way.
Okay.
I want to talk to you as a casual fan.
Okay.
And then you be the know-it-all, be-all.
Okay.
And I'm just going to ask what I think would be common questions without all the data and the research you've done.
Gotcha. And I'll try and lead
there
into
you go.
that. All right.
Okay. You just tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready. Let's go.
How's their running back?
Oh, I'm glad that you asked. Their running back is Sutton Smith, who happens to be 13th in the nation in rushing. 394 yards on the year, had the 64-yard go-ahead touchdown against Arkansas with just under 4 minutes left to go in that game on Saturday. So I'm glad you asked. Yes, Sutton Smith, he's pretty good. And to add to that, Damon Arnett, Kajan Owens, FIU starting running back, who's just ahead of him, 12th in the nation in rushing. He has 396 yards on the year.
Okay.
He put up 173 of those against Florida Atlantic in the Shula Bowl.
Well, it sounds like
so that's a key.
It sounds like right now it's going to be a battle of wills on the offensive defensive line, which is much of football, no matter what game you play in.
The defensive line has to start making more of an impact in these games. They started to gradually? Yes, but only 2 sacks on the season for FAU through 3 games. They're coming off of a game where the D-line allowed FIU to gouge them over and over and over and over again. So ultimately, that's problematic. Overall, Memphis is 19th in the country in rushing yards. They're 3rd right now in the American, and I think you could probably call it 2nd because Navy is near the top of the country, but that's a triple option offense. Like that's what they're lining up in the wishbone all the time.
So he's a shifty running back. He's a straight downhill.
Powerful. Powerful. He's got deceptive speed as well. So if FAU can't shut down the run game, and I know that is a little bit of obviously can, but there are some teams you can overcome them running over you. Memphis, you can't. If he ends up running for 170 yards again like Kajan Owens did, FAU's just not going to put itself in a position to have any chance in this game.
Well, I don't know what running back you can give up 170 yards to and be in the game.
No, you're right. You're right. I don't know if I don't know if Sutton Smith is going to be held to under 100, but you've got to keep it.
Don't let him go crazy.
Just
don't let him go crazy.
You got to keep it close to that century.
It's almost like someone who averages 20 points a game. Yeah. Don't let him get 40 though. Okay, right. We understand what he's averaging coming in. Just don't let him go bananas.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question I have is that, okay, let's say we're able to contain and manage the Sutton Smith.
Yeah.
Are we worried about downfield passing? Is it dinking and dunking? Is it, I hate to say it, but just heave-ho it because they got the Cowboy defense in the secondary?
Well, the secondary's been surprised just based on what the preseason thought was from FAU coaches. They knew they had talent back there. They knew they had speed back there, but you never know because it was an entirely new secondary except for Wendell Ford, who's playing a lot of nickelback, returning captain, and a Kaiser University product who had a good year last year. But the secondary, to me, has been the strength of the defense.
Okay.
So Memphis quarterback Brendan Lewis, he's only got one 200-yard passing game this season. That happened in a win at Troy. So it's abundantly clear that Sutton Smith
is
out
the
of the
engine.
backfield, he's the guy.
He's the guy.
You key in on him and you at least contain him, you're putting yourself in a much more advantageous position.
So we'll take our chances with our man defense on the perimeter.
Yep.
On our corners and wide receivers. So and we'll take our chances with the quarterback having to be one dimensional.
Yeah, you want to make Brendan Lewis have to throw.
Okay.
I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Okay.
Is he good? Yes. I'm not trying to disrespect him. All I'm saying is that Sutton Smith makes that whole engine go for him.
But the quarterback can be good, but we have a good secondary, so let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You want to take your chances with the secondary going and making plays, but that also requires the defensive line getting pressure on Brendan Lewis as well, because this secondary has succeeded for the most part without really not only no sacks, only 2 of them on the year, but also a lack of pressure. Overall. They only had 3 hurries against FIU.
Which was going to be my next question to you from what should I be looking for as a fan watching? It's sacks and getting pressure on the quarterback, because if we're going to contain the run, you would assume that they're going to be maybe more than just a 4-man pressure and possibly send some backers. And
that's, I think that yes, you're going to have to start taking some chances to apply more pressure. And that probably means linebackers, safety coming up and applying pressure. But then you're obviously leaving yourself vulnerable down the field. So you better get there. Right?
You better get there.
You
better get there. And we want to turn him in. So what I'm hearing you say right now is, as I'm watching the game, I don't need Sutton going crazy. Mm-hmm. He's going to get 7-8 yards. He might even break one for 20 or whatever, but just don't let him go bananas, so where even a non-football savant can tell, hey, he's killing you.
Sure.
And then we are able to play defense on the perimeter with our corners, because that is the strength of our defense up until now.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And also, too, the corners need scheme. So the coaches and the secondary can float once we're shutting down that run, and then try to slowly but methodically make them one-dimensional.
Yep.
And then we should be good.
And nobody's truly been able to make them one-dimensional, though, and that's why Memphis is 4-0. That's why they beat Arkansas, and that's why they are.
How many yards did Sutton have against Arkansas?
Let me double check that real quick. He was under 200 yards passing. Or Sutton. Oh, Sutton you're talking about the running back.
The running back, yes.
Yeah. He absolutely went off, especially in the second half. He was really strong in that game. And again, that 64-yard run with Memphis trailing. And Memphis, by the way, trailed big in this game in the first half. And then they scored right before halftime, and that changed the entire complexion. But Sutton Smith, 147 yards on the ground, had over 12 yards a carry, and that balloon, because of that 64-yard touchdown run, had that touchdown, obviously. So 147, that's not going to do it either on Saturday.
But Memphis is known for putting out a lot of good running backs. You look at, if I'm not mistaken, Pollard, who went to the Cowboys. I think now he's with Tennessee.
Yep.
And D'Angelo, was it Williams? You remember him, D'Angelo?
I do.
Was it D'Angelo Williams?
Yeah.
He's a Memphis running back. If I'm not, yes, he's a Memphis Tiger. I think he may have been one of the first ones
to hit the NFL.
Well, the first year, first round, getting drafted. So I mean, they're known for putting out runners or whatnot. And there's another one from Memphis I'm forgetting, but we need to contain the run is ultimately what you're saying defensively going into it, and keep him, the Sutton, being contained with his runs.
So let's get to the FAU offense here, because there obviously is a lot of hand-wringing about the interceptions. And 9 on the year for the FAU passing game, 7 for Caden Veldkamp. Just from a broad perspective, and Zach Kitley has talked about this, FAU is dead last in turnover margin in the 134-team FBS. The last in turnover margin in the entire sport. They've only forced 1 turnover, and it wasn't necessarily forced. It was a snap that went through the legs of the FIU quarterback, and FAU happened to recover it. But that was really, truly nothing that FAU did. That has to improve. You can't have a -8 turnover ratio, turnover margin, especially through 3 weeks of the season, and think that you're going to do anything during the course of that year. And I say it like that because Zach Kittley has said it like that. That's got to get better. And he's addressed that with the team in the bye week. Now, if there's one bright spot to the 7 interceptions from Caden Veldkamp,
that's a bright spot?
There is a bright spot for this because Caden Veldkamp, with
Okay.
only 3 games played, is 43rd in the nation in passing yards. He's one of only 2 players in the top 43 in the country who've put up numbers like that in 3 games.
So what that's that stat you just read off telling me is that he might be trying to do too much.
Well, I also, at least 3 of these interceptions aren't on him. Receivers tripping or running the route too shallow, or, and the
not being on the same page.
Right, and the offensive line has struggled to protect him. And so for this type of offense, this air raid, quote unquote offense, you need 2.5, 3 seconds, and he's not getting that a ton.
So going into this Memphis game, what does he need to do in order to give us a chance offensively to be in the game in the fourth quarter? And if you're within, really and truly, to how fast they can have capable of scoring, if you're within 2 scores, you're in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. But I think it requires the offensive line giving you an extra second of time. I think it requires some more separation from the receivers, especially on underneath routes. I'm telling you, I saw Zach Kittley at Western Kentucky as the offensive coordinator, and he beat the all-living hell out of teams, hitting them underneath with 7-8 yard passes, and then yards after the catch, 15, 20, 30 yards. That's how this offense built teams or beat teams. So if you can start getting those underneath routes and getting some separation and getting those yards after the catch, because FAU just hasn't, for the most part, been able to hit the edges down the field and at least have to make defenses cheat to that side, which opens up the middle of the field. But FAU passing to the middle of the field has been really, really sporadic and really, really rare. And that's what you're going to have to do against Memphis.
Is this one of the games where you kind of think that him running the ball can open up those edges?
I think so. And he is mobile. He can get out around the edge. So we haven't seen it a ton yet. He did have a touchdown run, a 10-yard touchdown run. He's absolutely capable, but that requires the offensive line opening up space.
Yes, and so what you're saying,
he's not Michael Vick.
So, okay, he doesn't need to be Michael Vick, but we need him to interchannel his Lamar.
Yep.
And be able to get on those outsides.
I'll take him. Him channeling his Justin Herbert.
Okay, you want to channel Justin
at the
Herbert?
very least, just get some sort of protection along the line and open up some running lanes. And it does 3-4 times against Memphis. That's all you need.
I'll take Lamar. I'll take Lamar.
But I also think that the FAU running game has been strong enough where it should be able to make some effective impacts in this game. But that also brings me to this. While we're talking about defense, okay? FAU is actually 2 spots better than Arkansas in the pass defense. And we were talking about the secondary. FAU's 13th in the nation in pass defense. And I understand you go, they allowed 173 yards to Kajan Owens. Listen, you take that number. 13th in the nation's not by mistake, okay? It actually is 2 spots better than Arkansas's pass defense, who, by the way, let me reword that. FAU is 2 spots better, 13th in the nation in their passing game, not pass defense, in their passing game, than Arkansas's pass defense. They threw 325, okay? So FAU should be able, conceivably, to throw a little bit.
Well, I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, after watching a lot of these games, no matter who's playing, we can't tire in the fourth quarter, because normally when you're in these David and Goliath matchups, everyone goes into the locker room because you might be winning, or you might be down the score, and everyone has that, okay, we got them right where we want to, but then reality starts to sink in, the reality of, can you sustain this level of play for 4 quarters? And it's not that you don't have the ability or the athletes to do it. Do you have the conditioning to play this kind of game today?
You mentioned David and Goliath a couple of times. I'm going to push back on that because I think that FAU has maybe not across the board as much talent as Memphis, but I think FAU has enough talent to beat Memphis.
Well,
so it's not David versus Goliath per se. It's more like Anthony Edwards against LaMelo Ball. To use a basketball.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
Uh-huh.
I use David and Goliath not because Memphis is this historical program or this blue blood type of.
They beat Arkansas.
They beat
sure.
Where they beat them at?
At home.
Okay.
At the Liberty Bowl.
And so my point is going into this game because of the confidence that Memphis. You have to think how Memphis is thinking now after beating this SEC team.
Oh, their confidence is high.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so all these things make up a Goliath.
Yeah.
In terms of arrow, which direction is pointing.
Right.
A mental.
Yeah.
Type of approach. So all these things is not going to play Ohio State type of Goliath.
Sure.
But it's a Goliath in terms of more recent type of what have you done? Where are you at? Which way are we trending?
Right.
What did you do last week? You're only as good as your what?
As your last game.
Okay, so from a Goliath standpoint, you just beat Arkansas.
Yeah.
So something's very grandiose.
I'm glad I got that right, by the way, because I usually get those wrong when you pose those to me. And let me reword what I just said because I'm a dope. FAU is 2 spots better passing game, 13th in the nation than Arkansas's pass offense. Okay. I said defense for some reason. And Arkansas threw it for 325. Now, Memphis did have 2 interceptions against Arkansas. They've got 6 on the year. That's tied for 3rd in the country. Obviously, we know FAU has struggled with interceptions, 7 from their starting quarterback, Caden Veldkamp. So that is an aspect where you say to yourself, so you've really got to limit the interceptions in this game. And Memphis has 2 pick sixes this year as well.
And we've got to get turnovers. No matter what game you play, you want to win the turnover battle.
Have to.
But we definitely got to, and we preferably need to win. In a game like this, you got to get a turnover with a short field.
Mm-hmm.
So it really makes I'm not going to say not makes no sense, but it's a lot more difficult for the underdog, if you will.
No doubt.
To get a turnover. But now you got to go 70 yards.
Right.
Okay, so that really just wastes a few minutes of clock.
Yeah.
So if we can get a turnover on our side, on their side of the field, that is how you win these kind of games.
And another quick note, we talked about it last week, Monday Night Live here at Beer Garden Boca Raton. FAU has the most 4th down conversion attempts going into this past weekend of any team in the country, and the most 4th down conversion misses of any team in the country. So that's problematic. And again, I don't think that is something where Zach Kitley should stop going forward on 4th down. I think there's got to be better execution. And I think the plays have been there. I think there needs to be better execution on the field. At some point, it needs to be on the players to execute as opposed to, coach, that's the issue.
Let me ask you, how many new players we have on this football team?
A lot. It was up over 50.
And that's not common.
It's getting more and more common, unfortunately.
In NCAA football, the turnover?
It's getting more and more common. You'd obviously
50?
like it lesser. I mean, last year, Louisiana Monroe had 74 new players on its roster.
Monroe. I mean, if you think about it, 50, that's almost like half the conference in basketball.
I know.
The entire team.
I know. So the continuity definitely hurts. But again, there's a lot of talent on this FAU roster. And this is an offense that if they can limit the mistakes, this offense could be so prolific. I mean, so absolutely nightmarish for the opponent.
This is what I hope we can avoid. And this is no matter what sport, football, basketball, or any of these NIL active sports for us, Atlantic. You don't want to get to a point of the season and have a letdown in the success of a season where casual fans start saying and asking and price tagging players. Meaning,
well, that's going to happen.
How much does he? Well, it won't happen as much if you're good.
So
if you're out there balling, people are not going to be asking what does he make.
Yeah.
But if you're out there and you think that you're being underperforming as a whole, as a team, that's when the people start looking at who gets what.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the game right now.
What a bigger problem is like after the spring game, FAU purposely didn't have any. They were very, very, very tight-lipped about any, just to use a term, about any film getting out, because they didn't want opposing teams looking at the film of the spring game and poaching players after that.
But aren't they changing that rule? Or
what they're going to, there's only going to be one transfer portal, but it's going to happen in December, so no teams are going to have any players for bowl games left after that. Good times all the way around. Just a couple of quick notes here on this Memphis game before we move on here. Florida Atlantic, as we mentioned, dead last in the nation, -8 turnover differential. Memphis 37th in the nation in third down conversions, but FAU is 31st in the country third down defense. That could absolutely, and I know that that's sort of a fringe number, but that could certainly come into play and be really, really important on Saturday. So pay attention to all of these things that we just mentioned here on the Florida Atlantic Voice. Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. Personal injury lawyers are presenting partner of the Florida Atlantic Voice. The Florida Atlantic Voice, again, presented by Robes Law Group. Just a couple more things here. I asked on social media, at KLV Says on Twitter, for all of those that don't know, your memories of the 2007 New Orleans Bowl, because, again, this is the third matchup all time between these two teams, and the first time they meet in the regular season. It's been the 2007 New Orleans Bowl and the 2020 Montgomery Bowl. They have split, and that Montgomery Bowl loss is still the only bowl loss in the history of FAU. But again, sham season, 2020 COVID season doesn't count, and we move on. Just like FIU's 2005 win over Florida Atlantic in the Shula Bowl doesn't count because the NCAA stripped the win because they're dirty cheaters. All right, so got a couple of contributions here. Ross messages in, I made my now 18-year-old college freshman son his own FAU onesie at 5 months old, and he sent a picture. It is definitely magic marker or permanent marker on a white 5-month-old size shirt. It's a damn good logo, too. Yeah, it's really, really good. So it attached a picture and everything. That's outstanding.
Good kid.
Go ahead and jump in the chat as well about your and it can be rated R. I prefer not X, but rated R is fine with your New Orleans Bowl memories. Dave Lamont, my predecessor as the voice of FAU, he says winning the game. Yeah, no doubt about that. Let's see. Jordan says I watched it on ESPN over Christmas break from school. Kind of a boring story, but fine.
Well, actually, you got to go back to that time, though, Ken. I mean, how many football games were on ESPN from FAU? I
mean, that was one of the first, if not the first.
So it couldn't have been that boring as going to the school actively. Who was that?
Jordan.
Okay, I'm trying to understand you, Jordan. I feel the excitement back then because you home from break.
Yeah,
and I'm sure everybody. I don't know where you're from, Jordan. Please.
But you were able to watch it on ESPN.
You were able to watch it on ESPN from wherever you were. So you may have, if you're out of state, you were able to have some school pride around the Christmas. What do you say? That's Christmas dinner.
Break. Yep.
Break.
Yep.
And I feel your excitement. Come on, Ken.
I think the only other time. And there probably was a Thursday night Conference USA or a Sunbelt game because I think the Sunbelt had a contract with ESPN. I remember FAU playing on ESPN in 2008 against Troy at Lockhart Stadium. But the only game that comes to mind that would have been on ESPN prior to that New Orleans Bowl would have been the 2003 semifinal, FCS semifinal against Colgate at Lockhart Stadium. So it had been a while. That
was a hype game.
For sure.
And I'm sure it was one of the few games that was on TV that day.
Yeah, right.
Come on, I'm with you. That was a good memory.
Christian messages, I was 3 at the time.
Oh wow.
Man, I am so.
And Ken called the game.
Right.
Yeah, Ken called the game.
2003, I was actually. I was in high school still. That was my sophomore year of high school. But I used to say that and could say, oh, see, I'm not that old. But no. That's 2003. That was a whole 22 years ago. And I'm 41 years old now. I called myself 42 the other day. Why am I tacking on a year to my age as well?
Oh, my goodness.
41, man.
I'm trying to date you. I need to be quiet.
I know. You're a
very we understand, Ken.
By the way, in case I just want to Damon Arnett, by the way, still has the FAU basketball record for highest scoring average in a single season. So I just wanted to make sure because I'm contractually mandated anytime I'm within 5 feet of you to mention that. And to somebody.
There are other things that we got to add to the contract.
I know. I understand.
If we don't tell them, who's going to know?
Yeah, right. So let's go through a couple more memories here. My analyst on the FAU Football Network, Chris Newbold, who was on the FAU roster, simply tweeted, quote, Bourbon Street, with eyeball emojis.
There you go.
There is not one person who goes to Bourbon Street on a Saturday, a Friday night, a Saturday night, who wants to go into great, vast detail about what they've
Just say
done.
Bourbon Street.
Yeah, because it's messy and it makes people think things about you. Like, I get it. I've been there. I completely understand it. By the way, FAU plays at Tulane later in the season.
Wow, that's always a good time.
Yeah.
That's always a good time. Bourbon Street.
Call your aunt and have a little bit of.
Oh yeah, she'll be here this weekend. As a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, that's still.
I got you. Don't say as the young people say less.
That crab boil, man.
Oh yeah.
God. Brewery Hopper. He says his best memory of the New Orleans Bowl, marching with a makeshift group of FAU faithful from the Superdome to the after party bar singing the fight song.
We had an after party?
They had an after. That was the Bourbon Street thing.
Oh, wow.
Like, how good is that?
Okay.
So I appreciate everybody's 2007 New Orleans Bowl memories, especially because I wasn't here yet. I was in Madison, Wisconsin at the time, finishing up my time there at a radio station in Madison before I came down here.
Who were you calling games for?
I actually was covering the Wisconsin Badgers, not covering games, football and basketball. I was calling Madison Mallards minor league baseball.
And what year was this?
2007.
2007.
Yep.
Wow.
You still had NBA aspirations at that point, right? Were you playing in Europe in 2007?
I think 7 may have been my last year playing. I think I was in Albania.
Okay.
Around about that time.
Did you learn the native tongue?
No. And I'm going to tell you something, man. I loved some Albanians. I never knew Albanian was a thing or a group of people or nationality.
Right.
But they were very gracious. They were very gracious to me. Believe it or not, one of the most gracious places I've ever gone. That's
great. I love to hear it. And quick note on the 2020 Montgomery Bowl that didn't exist. Like I said, we were traveling separate from the team that year. We stayed in Atlanta, again at a hotel where the door opened to the outside, which is always an indicator of the level of hotel that you're staying at. It was a grind.
Right.
But we drove all the way to Montgomery. I'd never been to Montgomery before. And so we drove day of game. And it was a couple-hour drive. We stopped at a side-of-the-road barbecue place that didn't have any seats. You didn't walk in. It was just a little wooden building where you walked up to a window and said, I want this, 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 this.
Right.
We went and ate it at a park that was across the street from this little – it's literally a little wooden shack, side of the road in Alabama. And it was the best single barbecue I've ever had in my entire life.
That's normally how they come.
I mean, it was so we didn't even have enough napkins because it was so just the barbecue sauce. So we were forced to like grab leaves and try. But it was so fun. And it was certainly a piece of deep South Americana.
Hey, but you know, I know this is not going to sound sanitary, but some of the best places to eat when you go to certain places, it's off those little shacks off the side of the road.
No doubt.
You ever had a lobster from up there up north off those little lobster shacks?
No,
off the
but
side
I've
of the road?
heard it's. I mean, it is fresh as you can possibly be.
Yeah, the water's right behind them. I mean, it's amazing to eat that impromptu.
Yeah,
because you never have a taste for it until you pass it.
Right. So appreciate all your 2007 New Orleans Bowl memories. We need respect for the American Conference. I would be stunned if the American does not have the one singular group of 6 playoff spot at the end of the year, and it's deserved already. FAU in the American in the American Conference wins already. Memphis beating Arkansas, as we've talked about. Tulsa, a team that FAU put 69 on in the season finale last year. Tulsa beats Oklahoma State in Stillwater on Saturday night. That Tulsa team, Oklahoma State, by the way, they gave up 69 to Oregon, and then they come home and beat Tulsa. And I never advocate for these things, but I think it's curtains for Mike Gundy, their long-time head coach.
He's the mullet guy, right?
Yeah, he's the mullet guy.
He's the mullet guy.
He's the I'm a man, I'm 40 guy.
Okay. Come at me.
Come at me. I'm a man, I'm 40. Exactly. USF obviously beat Boise State and Florida. North Texas routed Washington State. They beat defending league champ Army on the road in double overtime. That means something. And then Tulane beat Northwestern and Duke, which is 2 of the holy trinity of beating smart schools. The only school they're missing for the holy trinity of intelligent universities is Stanford.
Do they? They
So
don't.
they got to put. No, they don't play them. So it's not going to happen this year.
And Tulane normally has a nice offense.
Well, FAU, like I said, yeah, they definitely do. And they've got Jake Retzlaff, who was awesome at BYU last year. And so he was a late entry into the proceedings there in New Orleans.
Right.
So you've just got to – FAU is going to have a tough task against Memphis. Just getting back to that quickly, it's going to be a tough matchup. But again, all the things we mentioned, if FAU can handle, limit the turnovers and limit the running game for Memphis, you're going to be in a really good spot.
You know, we talk all these numbers. You gave a little history on statistics as to wins and losses and who's doing what and who's not doing what. But you got to just go out there and play. I mean, you got to win these kind of games if you're trying to take that next step.
The bye week came at a good time.
Exactly. And so I get, as an athlete, I get all that kind of stuff. Some of that stuff should just kind of remind you what you're going up against,
right?
Or kind of put in the forefront of what you keys to success to win. But at the end of the day, you just got to go play. You got to be better than the dude in front of you. And sometimes it just comes down to that, and all this stuff that you just read, not to, belittle your time and effort. You just got to whip the guy in front of you.
I mean, it's as simple as that.
It's really as simple as that. And the entire team has got to win their individual battles. And football, I love the sport, is so much on individual battles. And if you can get as many people as you can consistently throughout the entirety of the game, winning their individual battles, you're going to look up late in the fourth quarter and be like, okay, this is either ours for the taking, or let's just keep doing what we're doing to preserve this win.
We'll have the Coaches Show with Zach Kitley on Thursday night on Fox Sports 640, the FAU flagship. That'll start at 6 o'clock. Real quickly before we wrap, I'd be remiss if I didn't go over the non-conference schedule for FAU basketball that has come out. FAU starts the year November 3rd against Boston College. Florida Atlantic, this is only the third time, make it the fourth time all-time, because you can count USF in 2011. They were members of the Big East, coming from a high major. Only the fourth time all time that a high major team is coming to the Ellie to play FAU.
Who are the other three?
Miami twice, and then you had USF. So this will be the fourth time. Boston College coming in. That's November 3rd. Then FAU has the field of 68, and they are going to Liberty. They'll play Charleston, who they lost to in double overtime a year ago. Then Liberty, who made the NCAA tournament a season ago. FAU beat them. That's probably the best game, the best win for Florida Atlantic last year. John Jacobs in his first year. This will be the final year of the field of 68. Charleston, Liberty, FAU played at Liberty. Those games the 8th and the 9th. Then Coastal Georgia comes in November 17th. Pacific as part of the Sunshine Slam Daytona Beach, but it's going to be a home game for FAU in Boca against Pacific. And then FAU heads to Daytona the 24th and 25th of November. Loyola Marymount out of the WCC, and then George Mason or Ohio. George Mason last year had a 20-win campaign. Ohio comes in. They had an off year last year, but they're generally close to 20 wins there in the MAC. November 30th, Adrian Wojnarowski and St. Bonaventure come to Boca Raton. St. Bonnie's coming in. The last time FAU played St. Bonaventure, it was at the Hall of Fame Classic in the 2023-2024 season. That was a close game, a December matchup. It was a close game.
I remember that.
Jalen Gaffney went off in the second half of that game, and FAU won on a neutral site. Then December the 7th, FAU has lost 2 straight to Florida Gulf Coast. They're going to go to Florida Gulf Coast. You remember, FAU, the only game they have played as a top 10 team in their entire history in college basketball. They went to Florida Gulf Coast and took a loss to FGCU. In the history of games you and I have called together, that's maybe the most shocking result of anything I've ever seen.
That hurt, because we didn't just lose, we got smacked.
That was, I mean, FAU tried to make a late run, and it was they got outplayed, and that was the game after FAU beat Arizona.
Yes.
In Vegas.
That's the proverbial, what they call it, a trap game.
That was an absolutely letdown game from every sense of the word. Then FAU has St. Leo and Albany back-to-back. Florida Atlantic's at St. Mary's. You ready for a trip to San Francisco, Damon Arnett?
California dreaming.
Yeah, California. Have you ever been to San Francisco?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so we'll fly into San Francisco. We'll play December 19th at St. Mary's. And then a late ad in the non-conference. FAU has UCF.
We owe them.
Now, We do owe them. And FAU outplayed UCF for about 35 minutes last year in Orlando. This is listed as a neutral site, but I have heard there is a chance that neutral site, and Disney, I don't know this confirmed, is Disney. Right. So it'll be a Disney World game, same venue where FAU won their non-conference tournament, blowing out Virginia Tech in the year after the Final Four run.
But that's almost like a home game. I mean, that's got to be some kind of logistical.
But FAU brought a lot of fans to that entire tournament, that holiday tournament up there, that Thanksgiving tournament. So I think there's going to be plenty of red.
Who wouldn't want to go to UCF campus?
Not me anymore.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But I think this is a good non-conference slate. You've got St. Mary's, who won the regular season of the WCC, beat Gonzaga. They went to the NCAA tournament a year ago. Liberty went to the NCAA tournament. 5 teams won 20 or more games last year on this non-conference schedule. It's good. That's a really good, challenging schedule to get ready for the American.
What I'm liking about it is I'm looking at the schedule here as you bring it up. We got home games.
Right. There were no home games the last 2 years.
We're actually going to play in Boca Raton consecutive events. And so that really does a lot for getting your team going and getting into the season and getting some momentum. It seems as if we had no momentum, because there was always this dreaded 7-night stay just to play 2 games.
Yeah. Well, that Charleston Classic was absurd, and John Jake is trying to avoid that big time. That's why you go to Daytona, play a couple of games. You go to Liberty, play a couple of games. None of this 5, 6, 7 day stuff that he inherited, by the way, last year. They did not schedule it like that.
And even when we travel, especially in the non-conference, we only leave the state, twice?
Right. And hotels that don't open to the outside as well. Want to thank Beer Garden in Boca Raton for having us here for Monday Night Live. As always, we're here every Monday night, 6 o'clock, Florida Atlantic Voice broadcast. Thank you to Beer Garden. And again, come out if you're watching right now, want to be a part of the proceedings. First beer, first drink on me, Ken LaVicka. That is the Ken LaVicka, voice of FAU guarantee. And we are presented by Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. Personal injury lawyers, presenting partner of the Florida Atlantic Voice. They are the singular best personal injury lawyer group that you're going to find in all of South Florida for any of your personal injury needs. Robes Law Group, ROBES, robeslawgroup.com. They are prompt, they are effective, and again, I want to send my appreciation because they are the only reason we get to do things like this at Beer Garden in Boca Raton, do them live, and also provide this content to the FAU fan. Thanks for everybody for coming out tonight here at Beer Garden in Boca Raton. Really appreciate you coming out here. Again, every Monday night, 6 o'clock. My man, Damon Arnett, thank you, sir.
Oh, I'm here, man.
Damon Arnett, my analyst for FAU basketball on the FAU Sports Network, but a man who puts up with me and comes out and hangs out with me for a little over an hour here. I'm Ken LaVicka. Reminder, it's going to be a 7 o'clock kickoff, 6:30 pregame. I've got it all for you. Saturday, FAU takes on Memphis. First time that Memphis has come to South Florida to play Florida Atlantic. Get out there. This is a team that's receiving votes in the top 25. Shake off the disappointment of the Shula Bowl and be a true home field advantage. Get out there. Fill that stadium. It is not and listen, I understand Miami has a bye week, okay? Florida State, they're at Virginia. They should handle business there. So pay attention, FAU. Don't have your side piece Big 3 teams, okay? Pay attention, FAU. Get out to Flagler Credit Union Stadium and make sure that you come out and provide FAU.
Did everybody know the time?
7 o'clock, 6:30 pregame. 7 o'clock, 6:30 pregame. We'll see you there, okay?
Yes, sir.
That's Damon Arnett. I'm Ken LaVicka. This has been the Florida Atlantic Voice presented by Robes Law Group. Bye-bye.